In this video, I'm going to show you how to use the rsync command to copy files locally, do remote copies via SSH, recursively copy entire directories, do syncing of directories, show transfer progress, automatically delete files, all that good stuff. We're going to do many examples and build you up so that you can understand what each rsync flag means, because I know it's a little overwhelming with how many different options there are for rsync. So we're going to do this. It works on Mac, Linux, and Windows. Windows, you will need to install Rsync. I have a separate video about doing that, but otherwise, Rsync should already be installed on your system. If not, you can use the package manager for your operating system to get Rsync. Otherwise, I'm going to be working on a Mac computer here. I have two folders, a like folder with a whole bunch of stuff in it, and a subscribe folder with nothing in it. So we're going to be working with Rsync to transfer files between these two folders. Now, I'm going to open up my terminal window here, and first thing I'm going to do is go into my desktop, okay? That's where these two folders are located. And we're going to do the most basic rsync possible. We're just going to copy one file from the like folder to the subscribe folder. Now, let's do that. Let's simply type rsync like/photos.zip, and then we're going to put that into the subscribe folder. Hit enter, and you'll instantly see that pop up over here. So that was really easy. That just copies basically that one file into the other folder. Okay, let's go a little bit more complicated. Let's copy all of these files over to the subscribe folder. So let's try rsync like subscribe. Skipping directory like. Okay, so that means we have to specify a flag, the recursive flag, to copy the entire directory over from like to subscribe. So that's our first flag here. rsync-r, let's spell it right, rsync-r like subscribe. And it's doing something. It looks like it put the like folder in the subscribe folder, which is not exactly what we want it to do. So let's get rid of this stuff. The thing that you have to be very careful with rsync is specifying slashes for folders. So the proper way to do this, to copy the contents of the like folder into the subscribe folder, is still with the R flag, but make sure you do like slash to specify it's a folder, and then subscribe. And you can use tab complete if that's supported on your system. We're just going to finish that, type a couple characters, hit tab, and it'll finish it, the name of that directory. So hit enter, and this time the contents of like will be copied into the subscribe folder. Now, notice one thing here. The timestamps over here for the date modified are May, April, November, September. But on the right-hand side, when we copied it, it updated the timestamp to be today, which is right before noon. Now, that might be something that you want in your case, but I think in a lot of cases you don't want to change the timestamp for those files. So in order to get around that, there is the A flag. Okay, that's like, let's go into the manual here. Rsync, man rsync, hit enter, and we'll search for the A flag. Okay, and you'll see here that -A is the archive mode, and it is essentially the same as -R, which we've been using, and a whole lot of other flags, which, you know, we can look up these individually, but they do a lot of things such as preserving timestamps for your files. So we won't look into them individually, but now that instead of using just -R, we can do rsync-A like subscribe, hit enter, and you'll see now that we have a one-to-one relationship with the source files and folders and the destination file folders as far as the timestamp is concerned. So now that we have that, I like the fact that rsync has the ability to show you some type of transfer progress. And let's wipe this out again. I'm going to show you how to do that. So the most basic type of progress you can do with rsync is just make it be verbose with the -V flag. So we're going to keep the -A flag, but also add on to that the V for verbose. Hit enter, and you'll see as it's doing its copies one by one, it's just going to print out the file name that it's currently copying. So that works great, but a step up from that would be we'll get rid of the -v flag. A step up from that is the --progress option. And just instead of spreading out the file name by itself, it's going to show you how fast it's copying, and when it's done, it's going to move on to the next one, give you a little bit of information about that. Now, notice how the sizes are in bytes. That's not very readable. If we want to make it more human readable, we can use the -h flag for human readable. So we'll try that again. We'll get rid of those. Rsync -ah for human readable. We'll keep the progress, and that goes along, and you'll now see that instead of seeing bytes here, you'll see kilobytes, megabytes. Total size that we're copying is 958 megabytes, whereas before we had a lot of bytes up here. So I think that's more useful if you're paying attention to the output to use the -h flag. Now, there is another option, especially if you're copying large files with Rsync, called partial. Okay, so let's do a test without the partial flag, and let's interrupt the command with Control-C while it's copying a large file. So we'll execute this, and it's copying this MP4 file. I'm going to escape out of it. It only got to maybe 50%, and you'll see that that MP4 file did not end up in the subscribe destination folder. Okay, so let's try that again just to prove a point with the --partial flag. Hit enter, and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to interrupt it halfway before it's done, but this time you'll see that that does end up in the destination folder, and it's not, let's see, over here it's 749 megabytes, over here it's only 609 megabytes. And if you try to play this video file, it will play most of the way, but at some point right here, so it's working until here, and then it stops because the data for the rest of the file hasn't been copied over, but everything up until that point in the video has been copied over, so it just freezes. Now, the cool thing with the partial flag is when we resume this transfer, the next time it's going to automatically pick up where it left off and finish the transfer, as well as it's going to skip over the Discord disk image and all the photos. No, it didn't copy any of the photos, but it'll just pick up where it left off and not have to retransfer from the beginning. So let's go ahead and execute that. Pay attention to the output here. It looks like it picked up most of the way through the transfer, and then got everything else. So if we go back and play this, it should play till the very end of the video. So let's remove these out of here. There is a shortcut. Instead of typing --progress --partial, they have rolled those two options up into the -P flag. So we can accomplish the same exact thing by doing rsync -P, and that'll copy everything over with a progress and with that partial flag. Now, if you want to simulate a syncing type of operation, you can add the --delete option into here. And when we do this, it's going to keep both folders in sync. So if we hit enter, nothing's going to happen because they're already identical. But let's make a file in the destination folder. Let's just call test.txt, and you'll see that adds an extra file over here. Now, the goal with a syncing, when you want to sync two folders together, you might have to sometimes delete files from the destination if they don't match up with the source. And that's what this will do when we execute rsync with the --delete command. It's going to make sure that the destination matches up with the source, and in order to do that, it's going to get rid of the test text file. So let's see that happen. We'll hit enter, and indeed that does get rid of the test.txt file. And let's try something else. Let's move these all to the trash. We'll create that file again, and just to make sure that that works in a different situation, we'll run that again with the delete flag, or the delete option, and it goes ahead and deletes that text file and copies everything over as we would expect. Okay, so let's delete these. Let me show you one more flag here. We'll get rid of the delete option, And sometimes you might want to do a one-way transfer. So we want to copy everything from the source folder to the destination folder, and when it's successfully copied into the destination, get rid of everything from the source folder. And with that, if we want to do that, we can use the -- remove -source -files option. Hit enter, and you'll see that as after everything's copied over, it'll delete the files that were successfully copied over. So the only thing that it doesn't work with is with directories. It's going to leave empty directories at any level. So I don't know if we dove into here, but there was a bunch of pictures in here before, and now there is not any more pictures in there. The only workaround, if you're running a script or something like that, and you want to delete the empty folders after you're done, is to do something like find in the like folder any how should I say this? Any directories, type D is equivalent to directories that are empty, EMPTY, and then delete them. So if I execute this command, it's going to delete any empty directories in the like directory, including, well, I guess it was just the photos folder in this case. So that went away. So let's combine that all into one demonstration. So it's going to be two commands. The first command is going to be rsync with all of our flags, remove source files from like to subscribe, and that's going to go ahead and do its thing. It's going to leave us with one empty photos folder, and we're going to just execute the find command to delete any empty directories, and that'll take care of that. The next thing I want to show you is how to use Rsync to do remote copies. So let's go ahead and put our files back into the source directory, and I'm going to open up a new terminal window here, and what I have is a remote server right here at this IP address. So I'm going to log into that remote server just so we can see what's happening. So SSH root at that IP address, and let's put these two guys side by side so we can see what's going on. So we don't really need this local subscribe directory open anymore. We're just going to be copying things from locally in the like folder to the destination, which is this IP address here. So what was the password for that? I'll paste that in. And let's orient ourselves when we're logged in here. We are in the root directory, and there is just a single directory in there called snap. So let's do our first remote copy. We're going to use the similar flags that we have been using. So to copy from the like directory to the root folder on the remote, let's do rsync. Let's use the up arrow key to find our previous set of flags. So we're going to do rsync -ahp, which we have been used to. We know what those flags do at this point. We're going to copy from the like directory to, to destination is going to be kind of how we just logged in via SSH here. So how did we do that? We did root. We're copying to root at the IP address. Let's copy the IP address. And then you want to specify a directory where you want to copy it on the remote folder. So you're going to do :/root, right? Because that's where we are located on the destination, right? On the remote folder, on the remote server. So that looks good. Let's go ahead and execute that command. We'll type in the password. I'll paste it in my case, hit enter. And the copying has started. So we can monitor that it created a like directory. We'll go into there, ls, and you can see that it's working on the folders, the Discord, and we'll wait for that to finish. Actually, you know what, guys? I'm in the middle of Sequoia National Forest, and I don't have good bandwidth. So what I'm going to do is back out of this with Control-C, and I'm going to, on the destination here, remove the like folder, and I'm going to get rid of some of these larger files so we can do this in real time. So I'll get rid of the disk image, the two movie files, and that should be good. So just so we can see this all happening in real time. So let's execute that command again. Same exact thing. It's just going to be quicker because there's not as many files to copy. I'm going to do the password again. Let me copy and paste that. And this should be much quicker. So it's going to copy, I guess the biggest thing would be this, which is only going to take hopefully 10 seconds. And then all these small photos, which are all less than a megabyte in size. And there we go. So that was fairly quick. Okay, so we copied 17.3 bytes, and yeah, that looks good. So the thing with large file copies is there is actually a compression feature built into Rsync, and that is with the Z flag. So before we copied 17.3 megabytes, let's remove the destination directory. So we have nothing there. Whoops. So we have nothing there anymore. And let's run it again with the Z flag, which is the compress flag, and see what kind of, see how much data is copied. And it's not a huge difference. We save 0.02 megabytes instead of 17.3. We only sent 17.28. But in cases where compression is beneficial, you can save a lot of network transfer by using that -Z flag. Now, what if we want to copy something from the remote server to the local computer? Let's show us that we have the like folder, and inside the like folder, we have the same thing, photos in photos.zip. Let's delete it from our local directory here. So we have nothing in our like folder locally, and let's execute the copy from remote to local. So before, our command looked like this. It's rsync. It goes rsync your flags, source, destination. So all we really have to do is swap the source and the destination. So this is what we had before, and now we're going to have rsync-ah capital PZ. The source this time is root at 167.99.152.76 :/root/like, and then the destination is the like folder locally. So let's execute that, paste in the password, hit enter, and as you can see here, that is beginning to copy everything down into our local file system. So I'm not sure what's going on here. I think my hotspot is given out on me. I'm only getting 10 kilobytes per second. I'm going to cancel that, and this is a good situation for the partial flag. I'm going to switch over to a different hotspot that I have and try that command again, and you'll see that it did partially copy 1.3 megabytes of the photos archive, none of the actual individual photos, but I'm linked to my my hotspot on my phone now, and I'll do the rsync, the same exact command that we just did. Run that, and hopefully I'll get some better transfer speeds this time. Where is my password? I'll paste that in, and it should resume where it left off. Yes, with a much better transfer speed that's only going to be less than 15 seconds. The last thing I want to show you is how to work with the SSH flags for Rsync. Now, Rsync uses SSH by default to transfer the files, but if there's a different port that you're running under for SSH, the default is 22, but if you're not using 22, you can specify that information. And let's just do a little bit of cleanup here. So we'll remove the like directory on the destination, and we'll use the up arrow key to go back to when we were copying from local to remote. Now and we'll use the Z flag too. So the way you can specify your SSH options is with the -E flag, and after that it's going to look for an argument, and basically in two single quotes you can say whatever type of SSH command you would normally use, such as a flag, such as a port with a -P option. 22. Now this is very redundant. It's automatically going to use port 22, but I just want to show you that this is the syntax that you would use if you were operating SSH over a different port. So basically, to summarize, we added the E flag, and then we're specifying the SSH port with -P22, and this should work just the same way as it did before. So let's go ahead and hit enter, I'll paste in my password, and that should, no problem, copy everything up. Oh, okay, and sorry about this. It looks like because I did switch networks earlier here that this SSH session was no longer active. So let's just reconnect to that. And that's why also that there was nothing to copy because I never actually removed those old files. So here we are. Let's remove those, the like directory, the entire like directory, and then we'll try that again. And that should type in the password, paste in the password, and that should recopy everything back up here. And we can see that kind of happening here. Now, let me with the firewall, let me show you that port 22 is indeed the port that Rsync uses. So we're gonna do, we're gonna actually just type UFW block 22. UFW is the Ubuntu firewall. What went wrong there? UFW block. UFW block. Oh, I'm sorry, it's UFW deny 22. So what I did here was I blocked port 22 with the Ubuntu firewall UFW, and you can see that that is denied from anywhere. So now if we try to run the rsync command either explicitly with the SSH options -p22, that's not going to work, or if we try the rsync command without any of that, without the -e flag and these other options here, it's just going to hang because port 22 is blocked. But if I do a UFW allow 22 explicitly, that will, I'm not sure if it'll pick up here. I might have to restart the command. That'll go ahead and ask you for the password like it usually does. You can type that in and it will copy everything up. Everything's already up here, so nothing to copy. That's about it for rsync. I have a whole bunch of other videos about scp, curl, wget, all those cool commands for copying files on Linux and Unix and Windows. So check them out. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you in the next one.